Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I can't believe this is our last session of BiblioCon Day 2. There were some amazing presentations today, and don't forget to join us after this for the closing announcement. So today in this session, we are going to be discussing seed libraries and libraries of things. So today, joining us from Pima County Public Library, we have Amy Bivins, Program Specialist, and Chris Williams, Program Specialist. From St. Thomas Public Library, we're joined by Nadine Poulos, Manager of Customer Experience and Collections. And from Hillsboro Public Library, we have Brendan Lax, Collection Development Librarian. My name is Maxine. I'm the Manager of Operations at BiblioCommons. Really exciting to see everyone here today. So before we start, just a quick reminder that you can add questions, comments, or just say hello in the chat window. We'll get to any questions at the end of the session. You can also turn on the live transcript by clicking on the button located at the bottom of the video stream bar, and transcripts will be available upon request. So with all that said, I'm going to hand it over to Amy from Pima County. Take it away.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. As you heard, I'm Amy from Pima County Public Library. We have a seed library as our unique collection. And first, I will tell you some of the things we do on our website to make it discoverable and accessible. And then we'll go into a little bit about what we do in our ILS to make all the website stuff work. And the point is to guide our patrons through all of the points of access to the seed library in a smooth and easy way. And there are two ways that we figure patrons get to the seed library. One is they already know it exists and they want to find out more. And the other is they don't know anything about it and they discover it while they're on our website for something else. So patrons who know about it may start with a search in our catalog for a particular seed that they would like to check out and grow. If they start with a search, say, for basil, and they come across it in the catalog, then they have options to discover many more in a staff list. And you can see here, we have a staff list for monsoon sowing. And the way we got that to show up in the search results is using the personalized promotions feature in BiblioWeb with keyword searches, and you can do it with the spotlight card feature as well. You can also see highlighted in yellow, there's a link to a blog called Now Sowing related specifically to basil. And I'll show you later how we make those blog links show up by using our ILS. So another way that someone who knows we have a seed library may get to it is by going into the Browse drop down in our main menu, and under what we call Discover Community, you can see a link to Seed Library, and that will take you to the landing page here. You could also do a website search and get to it. And on the landing page, you can see on the right where the purple arrow is, there's a link to available seeds, and that will take you to our entire catalog of seeds that are currently available for reserve and checkout. And down below, you can see we have some now sowing blog posts there. And also what you can't see below that is a carousel that has blogs, lists, news, and events all related to the seed library. We update this page monthly using tags for the months of the year so that it's always current and people aren't reading about seeds that are not going to work in that season. And for patrons who may not know yet that we have a seed library, but they might be interested in gardening, say. So they do a catalog search for gardening, and among the books and other things that come up, again, with using personalized promotions and spotlight cards, you can see the service card for the seed library, and that links directly back to the seed library landing page. Another way people might come across a seed library that haven't heard that we have one is by seeing a Now Sowing blog post in a featured box on our homepage. And we do feature these now and again. They drive a lot of traffic towards the seed library, and people check out a lot of seed from that. They can follow the links in the blog to the catalog record, in this case for time seeds. You can see the blue button that goes there. Also on the left, under similar posts for you, you can see other Now Sewing blogs most of the time. And there's also a link lower down in the blog post back to the landing page. These blogs kind of act as a hub, so you can get to the catalog, you can get to other blogs, you can get to the landing page, and we also include recipes near the bottom of the blogs, which are really fun. So what do we do in our ILS to make all of this work? We created an I-type in Sierra that gives the seeds hold on, I've got to move my people. Okay. So that they would have different circulation rules from our other circulating items. And you can also see there it says corporate. We get seeds from corporate seed sellers, and we also get donated seeds. And so that's where we can keep track of the origin of our seeds. And each individual packet of seeds also gets an ID number, because we like to track when we get comments from our patrons about how seeds performed and grew, whether they had viruses or any other problems, so we can take them out if we need to. We make the format 3D objects, and we add extra titles to include scientific names and different varieties of seeds, just to make them more easily discoverable. And here you can see we've added tons of extra subject headings, and that allows us to include local gardening organizations that we work with, and also our commercial seed donors who we also buy seeds from. Down below in the yellow box, you'll see MARC records field number 856. And those are where we put the links to the seed library landing page, to the blogs for Now Sewing, and also to the cover images that we make, which make our seeds just look really beautiful in carousels and in search results. So here is what a record with all these bells and whistles will look like to our patrons. You can see with the arrows there how the 856 fields come through on our website. And so it looks really cool, and there's a lot of information for people right from the result that they were looking for. So just a few more details. I mentioned before that we give them circulating rules that are different from our other circulating collections. We do check them out for 6 months, but we go in monthly and do a batch purge so that they come off of the patron's account and they don't have to worry about returning something that they probably don't have anymore. We do have a checkout limit of 10 seed packs per card, which our seed library team figured was reasonable for home gardens. And that's the same reason that you can reserve up to 10 seed packs at a time. Our ILS staff are able to suppress and unsuppress seed records as needed. So if we run out of something that's become really popular during a season and none of the holds are going to be filled anytime soon, we may be able to take that out so that we get less frustration on the part of our patrons. So these are the ways that we use our ILS and our website to make discoverability and accessibility just an easy path for anybody who either knows or doesn't know that we have this unique collection.
That is fantastic, Amy. Thank you. And now I am going to pass the digital baton over to Nadine.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, so I'm also going to be talking about our seed library. So I'm at St. Thomas Public Library, which is in St. Thomas, Ontario, Canada. So I always find on these meetings, I'm automatically Googling where our location is. So we're located right here, halfway between Detroit, Michigan, and Toronto, Ontario. And we have a population of only 42,000. We are a single branch system, and we launched our seed library in 2017 with a focus on native plants to what we call Southwestern Ontario. So over the past 6 years, we've added more and more seeds to our catalog, and we now have 497 different seeds that have been cataloged in our library system. And so most of that was done in Sierra, but last fall we migrated over to Evergreen. And so we now are using Evergreen as our ILS system, which also had some challenges for the seed library, but we're moving forward and we're really enjoying it. So when we started our seed library back in 2017, we made the decision at the time to categorize all of our seeds into one of 3 categories. So they're all either flowers and ornamentals, fruits and vegetables, or herbs. And within those categories, we have subcategories like tomato. And then we go one step further into another subcategory of our different types of tomatoes. So we used these categories to create the call numbers, as you can see. And just one other thing that we've done in with BiblioCommons for finding same as we just saw, adding the images to make it a nicer view for our patrons and an easier way for searching. So at this point, they're one image for each category, but we are looking in the future to hopefully change that. So one of our major benefits of cataloging our seeds and having these overarching categories is the way that it is available for people to find our seed library and find what they're looking for within it. So for those patrons who are not familiar that we have a seed library and are just starting it, what we have on our seed library page is a page that has a bunch of information you can't see above, but then we break it down into those 3 main categories as well as container friendly ones. And I'll talk to that in a bit of how we have that. So we find this is a great way for those patrons who are new to the seed library and new to searching to quickly browse what's available without getting into the really advanced searching for seeds. So here's just an image of our MARC records and just show you how you can see here how we utilize the 520 fields and you'll see an image of what that looks like for the patrons and the 650. So we use the 520 to fill out the basic information of the seeds that mimics what is on our current packaging of the seeds. And then we're using the 650 to create advanced searching topics. So here you can see the 520 in action. So when you open up a seed in BiblioCommons, a patron's going to open it up and they're going to get kind of this basic information about the seed. And then, of course, you can see from here they can put it on hold if they want to. And again, this is a great feature of having our seeds cataloged and available in BiblioCommons is the ability to put them on hold. Similar to what Amy was saying, we have a 10 limit hold on our seeds. And different borrowing rules around them, but having that cataloged piece just makes it that much easier. And then we've really relied on this 650 for advanced searching by creating these topics in BiblioCommons. So if you're on our first search page, when you're first on BiblioCommons, this will be up to the left-hand side. I've just expanded this view here so you can see all the different topics there is. And so this is also where we created that container friendly category for patrons to quickly find the plants that are container friendly. We found that was really important to our patrons when we first started our seed library. We have lots of people with smaller yards, smaller balconies, wanting to kind of start this growing for themselves. And so this is our current search filters. We're planning to hopefully expand them and get some more, but we really do find them quite useful for our patrons when they're doing this from home and not coming in and actually flipping through the seeds. This has made a really big difference for them. So we really love this feature of cataloging them. And so just some pros and cons with the seeds. So, our biggest pro for us is the searchability for the patrons. The ability to put the seeds on hold, that was really big during COVID. Our seeds just got wiped out. It was really exciting that we were able to do that for them. And then being able to have the stats for our seed library, because it is a really popular collection here and our patrons really do love our seed library. Our cons for cataloging is that it was a lot of intensive work to start the process of adding our seed library to the catalog. And then we kind of run this constant troubleshooting of how to check in an item that's not coming back and working through those processes We had those all set in Sierra, changing ILSs, made a whole new process for us. So that's kind of a continuous challenge for us. Looking ahead to the future, we're trying to limit our seed library. 497 seeds for our small library is very difficult. And so we are going to limit down to a core collection that our patrons can kind of count of year over year. And then again, as I said, we really would like to update the images to make it easier for patrons who are really just getting into seeds and planting and gardening to have a better idea of what they're looking for. And then again, updating our search terms to add some more information to help our patrons for putting their gardens together, and then different ways to link the seeds that work well, although Amy's presentation talked to that already. So I now feel like I have more ideas. So I'm excited for the future.
Oh, this is so exciting. This makes me want to go to the library next spring instead of Home Depot. So that's fun. But last but not least, we have Brendan talking about libraries of things.
Hello. So my name is Brendan Lax. I work at the Hillsboro Public Library in Hillsboro, Oregon, which is a suburb just outside of Portland. We are part of a county cooperative, and we use the Polaris catalog, which is, sharing a catalog amongst 16 member libraries in our county does make something like a library of things kind of tricky, but it's both good and bad. We started our collection in the Hillsboro Library in 2014. And we started with cake pans, board games, STEM kits, and then the following year we branded it as the Library of Things, and moved on to yard games and instruments and kitchen appliances and all sorts of things. And then in 2018, a lot of the other county libraries started their thing collections as well. So that was great. We had a lot more collections for patrons to get a hold of. They didn't all have to come to Hillsboro to get their things. But it did make things tricky because libraries, you have to check out and return these items to their individual libraries who own them. And so this can be a challenge for making sure patrons know that information when they're looking at the catalog. They know where to pick it up at. They know what's at their local library as opposed to a library across the county. And 2018 was also when we got BiblioCommons. So we have a little stats there that you can see. We currently have about 1,000 unique things, over 1,200 board games, unique board games, but altogether there's about 5,000 items in the thing collection. So that's a lot to deal with. And so we started in 2014, we started a landing page, and you can see we subcategorized our thing collection on the page. And this was easy in our old version of our catalog to do when it was just us. If you want to bop over to the next slide, we just added an added title to our 246 fields in our bib records so that we could do a linked URL to a title search that goes right to the catalog. And this is fine when it was just our library, but when it became every library in the county was sharing their holdings on our bib records or sharing those added titles, it became hard to tell. You couldn't create just a link that linked right to one branch's collection, for instance. And so when BiblioCommons came along, we were able to do two things mainly: add images to the catalog, which makes it more appealing, the findability factor increases, and then people can see what they're going to check out. But it also increased our ability to provide better links from our landing page to the catalog. So here you can see we linked to our two branches in Hillsboro, specifically the Library of Things instrument collection. So now we're able to do better links and make it a little more clear when you're on our Hillsboro Library webpage, you can click through and just get Hillsboro Library's items. And we also provide links to the county-wide collection if you want to see kind of at large what's there. But this was important for us to be able to do that. And then the other thing that we were able to do is add images. So on the next slide, you can see, just like the other library shared, we can, in an 856 field, add a cover image, which we did. And so we were warned off of inline linking by our county cooperative, which is essentially linking to pictures on other websites. So barring that, we had to kind of create a place. We created a Flickr account to store our images, and this worked great. Last year, Flickr changed their terms of use. So they were going to limit us to 100 images and publicly share our images on their website. So we bumped it up to a pro account, and it runs us about $70 annually, but we have unlimited storage and our pictures are private now. So that's pretty handy. And then you can see in the picture there on Flickr, it's kind of hard to get to the static URL if you're going to be putting it in your records, but you have to go to share a photo, and then under BB code, you will see a big long string, and in there is the URL for the static image link. So that was kind of when we figured out how to do that, and now it does prove very effective for getting those images into the catalog. And then the other thing we really do with BiblioCommons nowadays are create lists. A lot of libraries will create lists of special collections, sub collections of their things. The other big library in our county cooperative, Beaverton, their website for their library of things collection links directly to lists that they make in the catalog. So that's their way of making sure that people just see kind of what they own at their library. But those lists are the most popular or most viewed lists every year in our county cooperative. So they're super popular doing it that way too. So that's another option. But yeah, that's how we do it.
Great, fantastic. Thanks, everyone. We do have a couple of questions. We had quite a few people ask about storing images. Brendan, you already answered that. So Hillsboro uses Flickr. I don't know, Nadine or Amy, if you want to jump in to say kind of how are you creating those unique images and where are you storing them for your seed collections?
I can jump in, and this may be the same for Nadine. I'm not sure. We have BiblioWeb, and we use the media library through BiblioWeb. We're lucky enough to have a graphic designer on staff in our marketing team. For the seed images specifically, she makes a Photoshop template that we can then find creative use images to put into the template. And then in the media library, we get a URL. That's the one that we put into the 856 field.
This would 100% have been an Aaron answer that my coworker who is not here. I know that we had our images created by our marketing team. How they're done, that is, sorry, not my expertise. I'm happy to find that out for anyone who's interested though.
There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Using the 856 fields, there in the BiblioCommons partner portal, there is a section called electronic resources. And there's a really good article in there that we used to make that happen, to learn how to make that happen. And even though these are not electronic resources, in that article, you'll see about what's called related resource, and the mechanism works the same. And so there are the instructions for using 856.
Yes, great shout out. We can post that link in the chat for everyone to take a look at. There was one other question I saw in the chat, which was from Dawn from Kansas City. How do you put seed packets on the hold shelf? They're so small and thin.
For Pima County, we use old DVD cases. We made a label that fits in there, and we have a little slip of paper that asks the patron to leave the case at the library when they take their seeds home.
Yeah, and so our seeds come packaged in basically old CD cases, like the cardboard pieces. I'm worried that we'll eventually have to figure out a new solution because those are getting harder and harder to source. But our seed packages are pretty large, so our patrons can see them on the shelf because yes, the little seeds do get lost.
Yeah.
Nice. I see one more question. Maybe we can get to it real fast for Brendan, which is, were there specific avenues you used for promoting your library of things to kind of create awareness in the community?
I mean, starting off, we created a lot of videos. We did a lot of outreach at tables and stuff like that. And the videos became very popular early on. We found that was kind of necessary. It was important for us to like brand and make sure people knew about the collection, so it wasn't like just sitting around going unused. There was a lot of other libraries around at the same time that were starting similar collections, but they they weren't really advertising them. So you saw a lot of them sitting on the shelf. So we thought that was important. But then over time, once the collection got noticed, you had to kind of walk a fine line between over promoting or like, creating so much demand that you can't possibly keep up. And that certainly is the case for certain things. We have, 100-person wait list on, something that we can only own a few copies of. And then we realize we've made a mistake, or we need to kind of figure out a better way to provide that or meet that need, I guess. But so I think it's important to promote it. You just got to make sure you don't promote it too much or promote it just the right amount, so that you kind of get that. It makes the collection more useful. Once it becomes long wait lists, the use of the collection outside of just like trying something before you buy it or something becomes less. You're much less likely to get it when you need it. But yeah, we did a lot of videos and a lot of social media stuff. And yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel for Hillsboro Public Library, you can still see a lot of those videos that we did. But yeah, we don't do so much now. It's kind of pushes itself out there and as much as we need it to right now. So
fantastic. All right. Well, thanks everyone. And thank you for the great questions. Thank you again to Amy, Chris, Nadine, and Brendan for the great presentation. If you have more questions related to this, please post them in the chat. And we'll take a look at them later. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see everyone in a few minutes at the closing announcement.